Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. We are doing homework for 612 today, and it is Mrs. Gauthier. All right, so today, 612, we are asked to graph on our coordinate plane shapes A, B, and C, and we're given some coordinates. So to graph these, just remember we're going to graph shape A first. It's going to be a triangle, it tells us, with point 1, 1 as the first. So I'm moving over 1 and up 1, right, to graph. There's my first vertex, my first point. And next we have 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right, our next point is going to go right there. And then the last point, 2, 4. Remember, 2, 1, 2. That's my x value. Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Oopsies. Just made a big mark. Yuck. All right. And it did tell us it was a triangle, so we can go ahead and connect our points now. That looks like a triangle, so did that right. Check. All right, I am going to go ahead and label this on the inside with a little A, so I remember that that is shape A. Next, it says shape B is going to be a square. So here's my first vertex point, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, kind of close to our triangle. All right, next point is 4, so over 4 on the x, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down to -1. Just like that. Next up, we have 2 over 2, 1, 2, and down 3, 1, 2, 3. It's right here. And since it's a square, right, it's got one more point here. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 3, 1, 2, 3. What? Oh, how about we go -1? Did you guys catch that? Hopefully you did. How about instead of 1, 2, and then we have -1. I was looking up here, +1. Let's go down 1. I was looking at that first going, that's not a square. Okay, how about that's a square? Go ahead and connect it. Make sure to label it so that we know what it is, so that when Mrs. Joseph or I are looking back at your work, we can know what's going on, or you can when you do your homework checks or are reviewing for your test. All right, C is a rectangle. Let's do this correct this time. -3 on my x means I'm moving over to the left. 1, 2, 3, and this time I'm moving up 1 because it's positive. All right, next one is over 3 again. 1, 2, 3, and this time up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. Okay, just kidding. I need to do that. All right, and then over 1, right? -1 and up 4. It's gonna put me right here. And over 1 and up 1, there's my little rectangle. All right. And just connect all those points, and that is C. Okay, we have them graphed. Hooray. Now for 613, down at the bottom down here, it says on the same grid that we just did, we're going to translate triangle A 4 units to the right and 3 units up to create triangle D. And then we have to write in our new coordinates. Okay, so we're looking at our triangle. Okay. And we have to go 4 units to the right. So I'm going to take just one point at a time. I'm going to do this guy first. And I'm going to go 4 over. It doesn't matter which point you start with. 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it also said 3 units up. 1, 2, 3. So see how, like, I kind of use my pencil when I'm moving it to make sure that I get my points in the right spot. It's very easy to mess up, so you have to be very precise. Okay, next up. I'm going to do the top one. 4 over to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave your pencil there and go up 3. 1, 2, 3. There's that. All right. And then this bottom guy right down here, 4 over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then up 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right. I can now trace out my new triangle. Remember it said to label that D. All right. And then it also asks, too, for the new coordinates of the vertices. So that means we need to label these points here. So my top point, for instance, this guy right here, I had to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's our first point here, 6. And then up how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get to that point right there. All right, next one right here, the one on the right, I have to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Over 7. And then up how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and our last point down here, we're going over, right, starting at the vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then how many up? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are our points for that new triangle that we just drew. All right, now number 614 says to graph each equation below on the same set of axes and label the point of intersection with its coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to graph it right on the same piece of paper. So the first, if you're kind of looking down here, the first rule is 2x plus 3. That means we started our 3, remember. So I'm going to go here so you can see. Yep. And on my y-axis, I'm going up to the 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's where my first point is going. Just like that. And then my growth was 2. So that means I'm going up 2, 1, 2, over to the right 1. Up 2, over 1. Now I can also grow my line, right, in the opposite direction. I go back to my y-intercept, and I can go down 2, and then to the left 1. Down 2, to the left 1. All right. Then we're gonna connect our points, right? Make it look nice and pretty. There we go. All right, my second rule, you guys can see it down here, y equals x plus 1. So that tells me my y-intercept is 1. So on my y-axis, where is positive 1? Right there. And my growth was just x, right? There was nothing in front of it. So that means that my growth is just 1 because I can always stick a 1 in front of a variable. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1, put a point. Up 1 over 1, put a point. Down 1 over 1. Ooh, I could do that too, right? Down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Okay, let's go ahead and connect these guys. Just like that. Okay. Now, let's see, did it say anything else? Oh, and label the point of intersection. So where do they touch, right? I can see they touch right at that point right there. Right? See where they touch? So, what would that point be? I'm just going to write it at the bottom here. So, well, from the vertices, the vertex, I'm going over 1, 2 to get there. So, -2. And then how many do I have to go? I have to come down. So I know that's, again, going to be negative. I have to come down 1. So, -1. So the point of intersection, or the solution, right, to the system here would be -2, -1. All right, flipping it over, next page. Here we go. We have shooter Marilyn is the Spartans' best free throw shooter. She normally makes 3 out of every 4 shots. In an upcoming charity event, Shooter will shoot 600 free throws. This kind of feels like a tongue twister. If she makes over 400 baskets, the school wins $1,000. Woohoo! Should the Spartans expect to win the cash for the school and show your work? All right, well, this screams to me, let's set up a proportion, right? So we know that she makes, right, Shooter here, she makes 3 out of every 4 shots. So 3 out of 4 shots. All right, and then let's see, what other information does it give us? She's going to shoot 600 free throws, but if she makes 400 of them, then the school's going to win $1,000. Okay, so let's just say, how many times will she make it if she shoots 600 times? And then we can also compare it, right, and try and figure out what would be best. So there's a couple different ways you can choose to solve this. I'm just going to use like cross multiply because I think that's way easier. So I'm just going to kind of do a cross multiply right here and multiply these out. Okay, so 600 plus 300 we know is 1,800. Okay, just like that. And then equals 4 times x is 4x. All right, now I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides, right, to try and get x by itself. And when I punch this in my calculator and divide this out, I get 450. So if she makes over 400 baskets, the school wins $1,000. She would make 450. So yes, the school is going to earn some money. Yahoo! All right, let's just say, yes, she will make more than 400 shots, right? All right, very good. Next up, number 16, examine the pattern. Ooh, a little bit from chapter 4. And then on our graph paper, we have to draw figures 0 and figure 4. So let's first figure out how many tiles is this growing by, right? Because we need our growth to know how many tiles to take off to do figure 0. So let's see. When I look at these two, I can see for sure I'm adding on an extra tile here and here. And I'm also noticing that there's an extra one that's being added right here. Right, because then that basically, when I shade those, I can basically see this same shape right, here, except there's an extra one. Got it. Like that. Okay, now it looks the same. So I could shade them again, right? 2 here, 2 here, 1 in the middle. Then these two essentially look alike. All right, so when I'm going to do figure 0, I'm going to look at my figure 1, and now I just have to take those tiles off. So I'm going to take 2 tiles here, 2 tiles here, and 1 tile here, which is just going to leave me, right, with that guy. So it's just a singular tile, just one guy hanging out. I'm going to shade him just so that you guys can see him on the camera, because with my pencil, he doesn't really show up otherwise. All right, now if I was going to do figure 4, let's do figure 4 over here. I can redraw this figure, right, and then just add on those extra 5 tiles. So let's see. I'm gonna start on the back end because, yeah, I don't want to run out of space here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Remembering that I'm gonna have to add 2 more on, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. 1 and 2 more. Okay. And then, because then it's like I'm adding them on the end. Yeah. All right, and then we're going to come down 1. There's that one that kind of sticks out on the end, right? And then comes down 1 again. All right, and then here, it's the same tiles. Same amount. Just shading in those extra new ones. All right, and then in the middle, before there were 3, so now there's going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? All right. So hopefully yours looks like mine. And for figure 4. All right. So now how many tiles will figure 10 have? For this, we're probably going to want to write a rule, right? And we already kind of have a lot of it already done. How many tiles were we adding every time? Well, we were adding on 5 tiles, right? So my rule would be y equals 5x plus how many tiles are in figure 0? There's just 1. So there's my rule. Now, where do I put my figure number? Well, my figure number always represents the x number. So I'm going to plug in my 10 in for x, and then I'm going to solve. So y equals 5 times 10 plus 1, right? Going ahead and solving, doing my multiplication first. 5 times 10 is 50, plus 1 more equals 51. So that means that there will be 51 tiles in figure 10. Alrighty, flipping it over, we have one more problem that's kind of split up into a couple here. Number 17, getting in shape. All right, so Frank weighs 160 pounds, and he's on a diet to gain 2 pounds a week so that he can make the football team. John, on the other hand, he weighs 208 pounds, and he's on a diet to lose 3 pounds a week so that he can be on the wrestling team in a lower weight class. So if John and Frank, right, for letter A, meet these goals with their diets, when will they weigh the same amount, right? One is gaining weight, one is losing weight. How much will they weigh at that time? We need to create a rule, right, for each of these two guys. So let's do Frank. He comes first here in our situation. Frank. Okay, so he's starting at 160. So that means that his starting weight, right, that B number is 160. So I can put that in. I'm going to leave some room because I know I'm going to have my growth or my slope in there. And how much is he? He is gaining 2 pounds a week. So that means his growth is 2. I need that x. And we have plus 60 or 160. There's Frank. Okay. Now for John. Let's do his over here. John. He is starting at 208 pounds. Remember, that's that B number. So leave yourself some room. That's the number at the end, 208. And he is losing 3 pounds. So losing means that negative, right? 3. Don't forget about the x. Got to have that x in there. Okay, so we are asked to figure out when they're going to weigh the same. That means I'm going to use some equal values method, right? Putting them equal to each other on an equation. Dropping off those y equals to see when they're going to weigh the same. So 2x plus 160 equals negative 3x plus 208. Remember, our rules stay the same. We just drop off the y equals so we can put them equal to each other. Now, we want to solve for x. We need to add 3x on each side. Try and keep them positive there. So now I have 5x plus 160 equals 208. Okay. Go ahead and subtract your 160 from both sides. Now I have 5x equals, let's see, when I punch that into my calculator, I get 48. All right, and then last step, dividing by 5 on both sides. Dividing by 5, x equals, right, 5 goes in, let's see, it's about 9.6 for my, it is decimal, but that's okay. 9.6 times. All right, so now I need to, because it did say how much are they going to weigh at that time. So this is after 9.6 weeks. They're going to weigh the same amount. But it also says how much is that weight, right? So now we have to plug that x back in to our equation here and solve for each one. So y equals, I'm going to try Frank's first. 2 times 9.6 plus 160. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply first, right? My 2 times my 9.6, when I plug that in, is 19.2 plus, that's not what that is. Wait. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I had to double check my math for a second. I'm like, what is going on here? Okay, plus, my 160. And then when I add that together, 179.2. Okay, there we go. Pounds. That is going to tell me how much they are going to weigh at the same time. I could also plug it into John's. It should be the same thing. -3, right, times my x number, my 9.6, plus 160, right? And then I can go through and multiply it, and guess what I get? Y equals 179.2 pounds. That means we did it correct. Yahoo! So, it clearly explain your method. That would just say, like, in 9.6 weeks, I'm just going to abbreviate weeks, they will both weigh 179.2 pounds. Okay. All right. That was it for this lesson. So thank you very much for watching, and ask questions if you need them.